Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual, if you like these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys, it goes an absolute massive way to help the channel too, and without further ado, let's crack on with it. So, this week we are on issue 15 of Imperium magazine, and we have some of the coolest Necron models that are around. The good old flesh-eating Necrons themselves, the good old Flayed Ones. These guys are pretty cool, they're pretty grim, and pretty unique. So they come on their 25mm bases, so you'll have 5 of these in the pack, and you'll also have your 5 minis. Now, the sprue is a little bit different. With these are kind of like your Nighthaunt model, so these are going to be a little bit fiddly. There are some very, very delicate pieces on here, so cut them out with care. Take your time with it, do not rush it, you will knack them up. And this issue is also one that is pretty hard to get hold of at the moment, and a lot of places have already sold out of it. I know Forbidden Planet had their pre-orders had been gone from it. Yeah, majority of places around have already ran out, so just be careful with it, because otherwise you will bugger them up, really. Right, with that out of the way, these guys are going to be pretty cool, so let's jump into it. So we have the Flayed Ones, of course. These are cursed flesh eaters. So Flayed Ones are monstrous Necrons afflicted by a mysterious curse that compels them to attempt to devour the flesh of the living and take their skin and bones as trophies. So, the bodies of the Flayed Ones possess razor-sharp claws, perfect for slicing and flensing living flesh. I'm guessing that means flaying, essentially, really. The living flesh from any enemies. Flayed Ones adorn their android bodies with the remains of their victims, draping themselves in flayed skin and bone trophies. So, even the feet of the Flayed Ones may possess deadly talons capable of slicing flesh, kind of like Velociraptor claws from Jurassic Park, essentially. Long ago, the Catan, known as Land Ugor, the Flayer, was destroyed by the Necrons. It is said that with his last breath he cursed the Necron race. This curse resulted in a creeping madness known as the Flayer virus. Those Necrons affected by this virus awaken with a desperate hunger for the warm flesh and blood of the living. So a little bit kind of background behind the Flayed Ones and how kind of grim that they are. But yeah, really, really cool stuff, and I kind of like these guys. They look pretty unique and pretty different. Of course, you can do your usual, so you can, of course, have their designation. So you'll be rolling a d6 on there. So you can have them named as Skin Takers, Blood Seekers, Dread Devourers, something like that. Pretty cool. Degradations include Scream at the sight of blood, Prey on the wounded, Run on all 4 limbs. Kind of very, very feral style way of degrading your good old Necrons. And then the mutations can include flesh stripping claws, legs enhanced for sprinting, and serrated bone-cutting blades. And of course they have their trophies, so they could wear the cloaks of human skin, collect the heads of the dead, and rip out victims' spines. So, you know, all the good stuff, really. So, makes them a little bit more grim. So, of course, with the Necrons, they are a very kind of unique race, being androids, very, very skeletal, so they are very thin and very wiry, and pretty different as well. So these guys are pretty cool. I really do like the Flayed Ones. I like the look of them. They look one of the coolest Necron units out there. So really, really good stuff. Then we get more stuff about the Imperium. So we get the Imperium Sanctus. This region of the Imperium has survived the opening of the Great Rift largely intact. Here, the Astronomicon still shines brightly. In this age of nightmares, however, no part of the galaxy is safe. So, from the Imperium Sanctus, Reboot Gilliman marshals the armed forces of mankind to battle the Emperor's foes. So, in the light of the Astronomicon, is generated upon terror by a vast choir of psychers. Hundreds of these psychers die in agony every day as the effort burns out their minds. This is a small price to pay to provide a guide by which humanity can navigate the galaxy. It is thanks to the presence of the Astronomican's light that the Imperium Sanctus continues to function. So, a bit more about the kind of Imperium and the different areas of the Imperium. So, there is the Sol System, which is the birthplace of humanity. Here lies Holy Terra, centre of the Emperor's power and seat of his golden throne. And Mars, the greatest of the Forge worlds and home to the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Sol System is protected by a colossal network of minefields, heavily armed space stations, and vast fleets of starships bristling with weapons. We have the Empire of Ultramar, which is the domain of the Ultramarines located to the galactic east of Terra. The Empire of Ultramar has seen much conflict in recent times, having been invaded by the treacherous forces of the Death Guard and abandoned the Despoiler's Black Legion. Still, the Ultramarines defend their home with their characteristic bravery and discipline. So, a bit more kind of lore and history about the Imperium and the kind of the Emperor's domain. The Sol System, of course, being essentially our solar system in a kind of a very kind of tweaked way. So Terra being Earth, Mars of course being Mars, Mars of course being home of the Adeptus Mechanicus. So we are going to get some Adeptus Mechanicus in future issues, and those are also pretty cool guys. They look really cool, and some pretty unique models as well. So it should be really good to see those. Then we get some information about the forces. So of course the Space Marines Chapter Command. Those Space Marine chapters are highly efficient fighting machines. They must contend with grueling attrition and numberless foes. To succeed, each chapter requires brilliant leaders with sharp minds who live and breathe the arts of war and logistics. So, though the command structure of each chapter may differ slightly, the majority have a single leader, the Chapter Master. Only the greatest warriors and commanders can ascend to this position. A Chapter Master wields great power and answers to almost no one. Though many worlds may petition him for assistance, it is the Chapter Master alone who is responsible for deciding which wars his chapter will fight. So, with the Chapter Masters, they are assisted in their duties by their Chief Librarian, Chief Apothecary, High Chaplain, and the chapter's highest ranking Tech Marine, the Master of the Forge. So, really cool stuff. So different chapters have different commanders. So there is Marnius Calgar, for instance, with his Honor Guard and the banner-bearing Ancient, leads the Ultramarines against Tyranids. So he is the chapter master, essentially, for the good old Space Marines, for the Ultramarines. And yeah, so pretty cool stuff. So you get a few more information about different ones. So we have, of course, Marnius Calgar. We have Logan Grimnar, who is the chapter master of the Space Wolves, who are a fantastic kit as well. And in all honesty, I must admit, I would have loved to have some Space Marines with this. Like, you can convert, of course, your Space Marines to the Space Wolves if you wanted to. With a little bit of tweaking, you may need to kind of try and make some fur kind of cloaks, and they'll mainly use axes instead of power swords, but really cool stuff. There is Commander Dante, the leader of the Blood Angels, Kayvan, Shrike of the Raven Guard. There is Pedro Cantor of the Crimson Fists, and then High Marshal Helbrecht of the Black Templars as well. So really cool guys, and pretty unique chapter masters as well. If you've gone through your own chapter, kind of creating your own, you will need to kind of create a chapter master, which you could use from pretty much tinkering around later on, and kind of design your own characters as well, so which can go into your own lore and your own history for the game and everything like that, which makes it more unique and more your game, which is always pretty cool. The Honor Guard is always made up of the chapter's greatest warriors. They answer to none but the chapter master himself and are responsible for his security at all times. whether in the safety of their own world or in the heat of battle. They also serve as advisors, lending their experience and critiquing battle plans in order to prevent arrogance and complacency from clouding their commander's mind. So your Honor Guard are a very kind of unique, they are fantastic warriors. Some of the models for them have some fantastic looks to them as well. They have a very unique helmet style, very ornate, more kind of ornate armour, and these billowing cloaks which look pretty damn cool as well on Space Marines, I must admit. Then we've got our how to build guide, so be careful, be patient and take your time with cutting these guys out, because yeah, I can see a lot of people breaking these and it will not be it'll be a pain in the backside to sort out. They will require gluing, so make sure if you use a bit too much glue, and any excess glue you can kind of just soak up with a little bit of roll, like kitchen roll or something like that, just to take it away, because otherwise you'll end up with some really horrible claggy bits on your model which won't look very good in all honesty. And follow the instructions pretty carefully, so you'll have loads of little tiny bits and pieces on your 28mm bases. Yeah, a lot to go on with, a lot of little components for each model, so this is going to take you some time, but once you're done you will have 5 very cool, very grim looking Flayed Ones as well, which look really cool. Then you got your how to paint guide. If you're painting it up this way, these look really cool. It does work very, very well. So you're using Rude Lord Brass, Bad and Black to kind of go over certain sections. Corax White over the kind of draped over skin and bones as well, because you'll be painting up that later on, where you'll be able to add to it. Yeah, they look really, really cool. They do look pretty good. They look not too bad. It's a pretty alright look. I'll personally be doing it in a different kind of way myself. But yeah, they look really good, and yeah, you can have a bit of fun with them, but really, really good stuff. Then you got your playthrough, which is another pretty cool mission. So on your large battle mat, you will be placing some terrain. So for instance, your good old container from the last issue, which if you've already assembled it, your ammunition crate and some barrels as well. You will be using your assault intercessors and a Carpe plasma sight to begin with. Now, with this one, pretty cool stuff. You'll have them, and you also have some Flayed Ones, which I'm guessing come into it a little bit later. So your first turn, the plasma sight darts into cover, doing its best to avoid the Space Marines. Meanwhile, the Flayed Ones arrive. So, go through that one. You'll take your turn, and then the Flayed Ones come into it. So the Flayed Ones kind of appear essentially in the middle there, using their dimensional translocation, and so you can kind of bung them in the middle of the map and then charge, which will be really, really fun, and charge them into the assault intercessors to kind of keep them on their toes. And yeah, really, really good stuff. A pretty cool way of playing and pretty different. So a very, very good one as well. And of course, you can always have your rematches as well, so you can swap out your Carpe plasma sight for the Royal Warden, for instance, and one of the assault intercessors for the Primaris Captain, because they have different stats, of course, so you can make it a bit more of an interesting game. But otherwise, really, really good stuff. So, pretty cool way of playing. And then next week we have assault intercessors for next week's issue, and then just before Christmas, issue 17, we get another armoured container, ammo boxes and barrels. If you've painted yours up, they'll look pretty good. I have done some of mine already, so I've gone with red barrels, which make it look a little bit different. Make them look a bit dark and dingy. Use a bit of Norn oil, dry brush back over with a bit of a brighter colour, and a little bit of kind of like lead belcher or something like that, and you can get a really good look out of them. And I've quite liked them as well. It looks like they've been battered around a bit, and so not been very, very well taken care of, which always makes life a little bit more interesting for your scenery. Right then, that's it from me. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll catch you sometime soon. Bye bye now.